Hey, we've got some interesting source material here.
Yeah, it's an excerpt from an English learning resource focusing on practicing English, decisions, vocabulary, and shadowing.
Right. And our mission really is to unpack the strategies in here.
Exactly. Pull out the methods, the vocabulary, basically give you a clear roadmap based on what's in this material.
And what's neat is how it starts. It jumps right into like a real life situation.
It centers around this conversation about making a difficult choice. There's someone named Emma, and she's got 2 job offers she's weighing up.
Ah, the classic dilemma. Yeah. One job pays better.
But the other one, well, it offers a better work-life balance.
And the source uses this specific chat as like the foundation for all the learning exercises it presents.
It does. The approach kicks off with a big emphasis on listening first.
Okay.
The source says, listen to the conversation just to get the meaning, understand what the native speakers are actually talking about.
And the why behind that, according to the source?
Well, it's pretty practical. It's designed to help you understand actual real-life English conversations better, just getting the gist first.
Makes sense. So in this specific conversation, we hear Emma talking about her problem.
Right, these 2 job offers, higher salary versus better work-life balance. And she uses the word torn. She feels torn.
Torn. That's a good one. Captures that feeling perfectly.
It does. And then her friend in the dialogue, Ben, he gives you some pretty standard English advice.
Which is?
He suggests she should sleep on it.
Okay. Sleep on it. We'll probably come back to that.
Definitely. So after you've listened for meaning, the source moves right into vocabulary.
Okay.
And it pulls out specific, useful phrases straight from that conversation you just heard.
Gotcha. So taking the language directly from the context, what kind of phrases are we talking about?
Well, the first one they highlight is lean towards.
Lean towards.
Yeah, the source explains it as, feeling like you're more likely to pick one option over another.
Like the example they give. I'm leaning towards the blue shirt because it looks nicer. Simple enough.
Exactly. And it shows other ways to use it too. Like someone might be leaning towards option 2 or maybe leaning towards engineering as a major.
Or leaning toward English even.
Right. It shows it's pretty versatile for expressing preference when you're not quite decided.
Okay, that makes sense. And what about that word Emma used? Feels so torn.
Yeah, feels so torn. The source defines that as feeling, really unsure. Stuck between 2 choices, usually difficult ones.
Which fits Emma's job situation exactly. The example sentence they use is,
She feels so torn between going to the party or staying home to study.
Right. A relatable student dilemma, too.
And again, the source gives other little snippets showing its use, like, I remember feeling torn, or just, I'm torn. It's a really common expression for that feeling of indecision.
Good phrase to know. And the last one was Ben's advice.
Sleep on it. Yep.
That classic idiom.
Right. It just means wait until the next day, usually, to make up your mind. Give yourself time to think overnight.
And the source example is pretty clear. I don't know if I should buy the phone now or wait, I'll sleep on it.
And they show variations too, like, let me sleep on it, or asking someone, why don't you sleep on it?
So this whole section is about taking these practical bits of language right from the dialogue.
Yeah.
Defining them, giving examples.
Yeah.
It really connects learning the words to like a real situation you just heard, makes it useful for you when you need to talk about decisions.
Exactly. Then, after the listening and the vocab, the source brings in a more active practice method. It calls it listen and answer.
Listen and answer. Okay, sounds more interactive. How does that work?
Well, you listen to questions about the conversation. The key thing is you're supposed to practice saying the answer out loud yourself before you hear the correct answer given in the material.
So it's testing your understanding, but also making you actually speak.
Precisely. It forces active recall. And the source provides a whole series of these Q&As based on the Emma and Ben chat.
Like what kind of questions?
It starts simple, like, did Emma get 5 job offers? And you'd practice saying, no, she didn't.
Okay.
And the source confirms, no, she didn't get 5 job offers.
Then maybe how many did she get?
Exactly. Leading to the answer. She got 2 job offers. Or it might ask about the main problem. Does one job offer pay more than the other?
You'd say, yes, it does. One job pays more.
Right. And it covers all the points, even the feelings and advice, like, is Emma leaning towards one of the job offers?
And the answer is no, right? She was torn.
Exactly. No, she isn't. She doesn't know which one to choose.
And about the advice, what does Ben think Emma should do?
The answer provided is, he thinks she should sleep on it.
That seems like a really solid exercise. You have to recall the info and actually form the sentences out loud.
Yeah, it tackles both listening comprehension and speaking practice together.
Does it cover more details, like the follow-up to sleeping on it?
Oh yeah, it goes on. Questions like, does Ben suggest that Emma decide right away?
No, he suggests waiting.
Right. No, he doesn't. He suggests she give herself time to think. And what should Emma do according to Ben?
Rest and think overnight.
She should rest and think about it overnight. It even asks, does Emma agree with Ben's advice?
I think she did, right? Seemed relieved.
Yes, she does. She agrees with him. And then, when will Emma see how she feels?
In the morning.
In the morning. She'll see how she feels in the morning. It covers Ben saying a fresh perspective helps, that she won't decide tonight.
Wow. Okay, so it really drills down into the details of that short conversation.
It does. And the source is really explicit about the goal here.
Which is?
It tells you, repeat this exercise every day. Keep doing it until you can pop out the answers quickly, confidently.
Right, building fluency through repetition.
Exactly. The aim is a significant boost in both your speaking and your listening just from this focused practice.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so that's listening, vocab, and active Q&A. What's the final piece?
The last practice method presented is shadowing.
Shadowing. I've heard of that technique.
Yeah, it's pretty common. In this source, it's described as reading the lines from the conversation out loud right after you hear the speakers.
So kind of like mimicking them, trying to copy their sound almost immediately.
Pretty much.
Yep.
You're following their lead very closely.
And what's the point of doing that, according to this material?
The source says the specific goals are to focus on the rhythm and the intonation of English. You know, the way sentences flow, the ups and downs in the voice.
So not just what you say, but how you say it.
Exactly. The aim is to sharpen your pronunciation and just your overall speaking ability by internalizing that natural sound and flow, getting the music right, like you said earlier.
Okay, so when you look at the whole thing together, listen for meaning first. Pull out key vocabulary from that specific context.
Right.
Actively practice using it by answering questions out loud.
Yeah, the Q&A part.
And then finally, shadow to nail the pronunciation and rhythm. There's a definite pattern here.
Absolutely. It's not just a random collection of exercises. The source lays out a kind of methodology.
And the core principle connecting all these steps seems pretty clear.
Yeah, it's repetition, isn't it?
They really, really emphasize it.
They do. The source actually says, quite directly, repetition is very important to become fluent in English.
Okay.
And it tells you to, quote, watch this video many times and repeat the exercises every day.
So consistency is key.
That's the message. Daily repetition is what leads to significant improvements in your English speaking, according to this source.
So it's a really structured, kind of multi-layered approach then. Listen, learn words, test yourself, practice speaking, refine the sound.
And all built around one single, pretty simple conversation.
Which makes it feel manageable, I guess.
Yeah, it's presented as a complete cycle, a repeatable practice loop that's designed for you, the learner, to actively work with the language in a really focused way.
That was a really interesting breakdown of the method in this source. It definitely lays out clear, actionable steps.
Yeah, it moves beyond just, here's some grammar or here's a word list. It gives you a methodology to actually use and internalize the language.
Based around that practical example, and it keeps coming back to that core idea.
Repetition. Consistent, focused repetition on material you understand.
Right. Which brings us to a final thought for you, listening.
This source puts a massive emphasis on daily practice and repeating the same curated material, watching it many times, doing the exercises every day to build fluency.
So considering that strong focus, what if the real key to unlocking your English fluency isn't just about finding endless new things to watch or listen to every day?
What if instead it's more about deeply mastering practical language, the conversational patterns, by really internalizing examples like the one in this source through that focused, consistent repetition?